Yo, what is up, guys? It is your host and moderator here, Blake Fox, back with another great video here on the BF Network. So, in the past days, many thoughts and comments have come up about Donald Trump and what he will do for conservation. Will he get rid of stuff President Obama has done, like naming Mount McKinley Mount Denali? Will he really get rid of the EPA? And will he really follow up on his promise to never go to Ringling Brothers' Barnum and Bailey Circus show again until they officially phase out all their elephants? So, I'm not going to talk about that stuff today. We're going to be trying something new here on the BF Network. We're going to be talking about the past and the conservation effort of Theodore Roosevelt. So let's get right into it. So on October 27th, 1850, in New York, President Theodore Roosevelt, or known as the conservationist president, was born. At 7 years old, Roosevelt decided he would like to grow up to be a naturalist. And this happened after he saw a dead seal at a local market. So, in his young childhood, Roosevelt always remembered his ambitions. He never forgot them. So, on many hunting trips of Roosevelt's, he would go to exotic places, like Africa, or safari jungles. He also went to the Midwestern United States, and that's where he put out some of his writings. Especially in the Midwestern United States, he hinted at the decrease of species and their habitats, especially with the buffalo population being decimated by the Transcontinental Railroad, causing Western population to spike. So, when you actually look at the buffalo population, when Roosevelt was writing this, it was an all-time low in human history. It was less than 500 buffaloes in the wild, and apparently there was not a sight of a herd of over 100 buffaloes ever seen in nearly 20 years. So I've been to Yellowstone National Park, and to put that into retrospect, it's a crazy number. Almost every herd has at least 50 bisons. Most have close to 100. And they're just now overpopulated, so it's crazy to think there's over 500 buffaloes. But let's get right back into actual President Roosevelt. So after William McKinley's death in 1901, then Vice President Roosevelt became the president. So as a president, Roosevelt decided to take the position of using natural resources to the country's benefit, which was something very popular at the time. The citizens liked it a lot and hoped the president would continue that, and Roosevelt did that. However, he made sure that we were conserving enough of our wildlife and the environment so it would not be destroyed. So one of the first things President Roosevelt did was he actually established Pelican Island Bird Reservation. So that was in response to the decrease in bird population due to the demand of plumes for hats. And in this entire presidency, President Roosevelt actually established over 50 bird reserves, which is an amazing thing when you think about it in retrospect. I don't think there were any or very little when Roosevelt came to office, and he established over 50. The plumes for hats, they really decimated the bird population. It's crazy how that happened. But later, Roosevelt established the Federal Reclamation Service, which made dry land arable. And Roosevelt also protected many sites by making them national parks, national monuments, or national forests. Now, some of these sites included the Tongass and Chuga National Parks in Alaska. They're actually forest reserves, I'm sorry. A couple small islands in Hawaii, Mount Olympus in Washington State, and Culebra Island in Puerto Rico, and his most famous accomplishment of all, the Grand Canyon, Arizona. So altogether, Roosevelt created 150 national forests, 51 federal bird reserves, 4 national game preserves, 5 national parks, and 18 national monuments. So combined, when they had everything up, Roosevelt protected 230 million acres of public lands. It's incredible what President Roosevelt did. And that's not it. After President Roosevelt's 2 terms were up, he spent time taking expeditions to exotic places. And instead of just hunting for the fun of it, he actually collected specimens for natural history museums. I believe some of them were the New York Natural History Museum and the San Francisco Natural History Museum and the Washington D.C. Natural History Museum. So, however, during one of his expeditions to a tropical nation, to collect specimens, of course, Roosevelt contracted a disease and actually caught up to him, and he eventually died because of this disease. It's very sad, but I think it's important because it shows he died doing the thing he loved the most, doing conservation. So for over 100 years, President Roosevelt actually had the title of being the president who protected the most land. He actually lost that title in 2016, February of 2016, to our now president, Barack Obama, who Mr. Obama protected the Pacific Remote Island National Monument, the Movajai Trails National Monument, and the Sand to Snow National Monument. So in total, President Obama actually protected 265 million acres of land. So he protects about 30 million more acres. But we cannot forget about what President Roosevelt did. He's done such great accomplishments for the environment, and he's really set a bar for what presidents have to do. So just to add my 2 cents into this, do I think Donald Trump will actually protect land as president? I don't think so. I don't think he will protect any more lands. And I think he will actually try to rename Mount Denali Mount McKinley. But that's it for today, guys. Please remember to like, share, and subscribe. That's all I gotta say. Thanks for watching. See ya.